Hey guys, J77 here doing a movie review, and the movie review I'm going to be talking about is The Dark Knight Rises. I have saw this movie on a Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock exactly. It was a packed crowd, lots of screenings for this theater. Pretty much half the theater was showing The Dark Knight, so no problem getting in to see this movie. People was pumped up to see this movie. My initial feeling was it's pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. I liked it very much. Mind you, it's not a great film. It does have some problems, but the problems are pretty much did not stop me from enjoying a very good, entertaining movie. The film pretty much referenced a lot on Batman Begins, more so on The Dark Knight, even though they did bring up some stuff on the events that happened on The Dark Knight, some stuff which resulted into two of the main characters being affected by the events of The Dark Knight, and not in a very good way. We see Commissioner Gordon being torn from the lie he's forced to cover up, the truth that he's forced to cover up because of fear of what may happen to the criminals that Harvey Dent have locked away. This is a result of a person who's really, the fire is not there anymore. He's basically is sick with himself of holding back the truth, that it wasn't Batman who was murdering people across Gotham, including Harvey Dent, but Harvey Dent himself was responsible for his own demise, as well as the killing of some police officers, as well as nearly taking out his son in the process. Bruce Wayne is also a person who is suffering from what has happened in The Dark Knight. He's pretty much a shell of his former self, and you kind of wonder throughout this film as whether he really can become Batman the way we remember him, because he's not there physically or mentally. And when he put on the Batman suit, you can pretty much tell that even though he's betraying Batman, his mental being is not really into becoming Batman. That all changed, of course, when the villain Bane comes into picture. Bane is leading an underground army, which Gordon had found out. He managed to escape with his life, but not after being shot. And because of that, he prompted Bruce Wayne, who visited him in the hospital with his mask, to come back as Batman. Of course, he does, but not in the best of terms, including Alfred, who was saying, "Hey, look, you're not really there. You're not really Batman anymore," because he pretty much saying that Bane is not like anybody he's faced before. In fact, Bane pretty much is trained under the same mentor that Bruce Wayne was, and it shows. During that first confrontation, things didn't go no well. Bruce Wayne is locked up into some kind of prison out of the country, and only then he started to become physically and mentally the Batman that we all knew. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, Bane is holding Gotham City hostage. He's threatening to blow up Gotham City with this nuclear bomb that Wayne Enterprises themselves have made, if they did an attempt to try and go into the city, which we all know that's pretty much a cougar's bluff, because he's planning to blow up the city anyway, because he's trying to fulfill a destiny that was left by his predecessor, which was Ra's al Ghul. In the end, Batman do come back. We have a climactic finish to the film, which I did enjoy, and the ending, although many people did have a problem with the ending, I felt there was not a problem with it. It's pretty much suiting that it ends the way it did, especially when they already hinted about what Batman's true nature is. Or at least Bruce Wayne has hinted what Batman's true nature is. That's pretty much all the brief synopsis I'm going to get. I don't want to give too much away in this movie, because I think this is the movie that people deserve to keep spoiler free, especially if you haven't seen it yet. But to overall my feeling of it, it was pretty good. It's not a 4-star film though. I will say that there are a lot of things I had a problem with this movie, and I will touch on those problems. But first, let me talk about the good things about this film. The characters in this movie were great. I actually thought that Christian Bale was in his best form. Gary Oldman, I can't say enough about this guy. When he disappears on the road, he disappears. You hardly even recognize the guy anymore. He's going to be hard to replace as the Commissioner Gordon when they reboot the movie. But overall, everybody played their roles well. Kind of wish that Michael Caine's portrayal of Alfred was a lot more in this film than I expected. He was actually less and less in this film than I was hoping for. He pretty much disappeared up to the very end of the movie. But overall, when he was there, I enjoyed seeing his presence on the film. Anne Hathaway, she was good. I had no problem with her. I actually liked her more than I actually expected. When she was on screen, I wanted to see more of her on screen. She portrayed Catwoman, or in this case, Selena Kyle, because they don't actually tell anybody that she's Catwoman. They don't give her that by name, but you pretty much tell by when she dons the uniform that she's portraying Catwoman. Just they name her Catwoman. She played it well. I actually enjoyed how she was more of an anti-villain, if anything, going back and forth between sizes. But overall, that was a good thing. I enjoyed her presence. There was only one scene I had a problem with. That one scene that didn't make no sense at all, and that was probably one of the scenes that I had a problem with more so than anything. But I'll get to that in a minute. But overall, her performance, great. Tom Hardy playing Bane, he was pretty good. He's a good actor. I actually enjoyed him as that role. I thought the biggest surprise, however, I will say, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. His portrayal as Blake was surprisingly well done. I really had no hopes for that character. I was not going in there with high self-esteem and how he's going to pull off. And surprisingly, I was really invested in that character more so than I ever thought I would going into this movie. So I give him a tremendous amount of credit for pulling off that character. He really, in my opinion, was the bright light of this movie, bar none. The cinematography was good. The pacing was good despite of one thing, and I'll get to that. The score was actually pretty good. I don't really expect it from, you have Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard doing the score. It was actually pretty good. I give them credit for that. Cinematography, the effects, spot on. It was very, very well done, well put together. So why is this not a great film? Why am I not giving this film 4 stars? Well, the following is I listed here. One, when the film first started, there's so much they're dealing with that the story itself becomes a little bit unfocused. They're trying to, close out so much, trying to deal with so much that you tend to lose interest in a lot of stuff they're trying to pull into. At least for me, I was not know where they was trying to go with that. The overall plot, what Bane was trying to do, really didn't make any sense. I mean, seriously, when you look at their plot and what they're trying to do, because if you go back to the first Batman Begins, it didn't make sense that much to begin with when they first introduced this plot, and they pretty much trying to rehash that same plot, only now it really doesn't make any sense. There's really no motivation for them to do what they're doing at all. Unlike the Joker, which you pretty much know what his motivation was, he let it all out there, and the more he tries to pull off, whether you agree or disagree with it, it makes sense. This one, it really don't. It got me wondering what the hell is going on. Another thing that bothers me, Bane, even though Tom Hardy was great as Bane, I don't consider Bane a memorable character. As I sat here and trying to figure out what was so memorable about him, there really isn't much. And the fact that he became less relevant as the movie went on, and that's largely because of other characters. Like I said, I liked it. Anne Hathaway portrayal of Catwoman. I actually wanted to see her more than I actually want to see Bane. That's just my opinion, of course. But Bane, to me, was not a strong character in this movie. Not to say that Tom Hardy did a bad job. It's just this character really didn't stick with me too much. Other characters, Ra's al Ghul's daughter was in this film, of course. I didn't think they portrayed her well. I, pretty much sensed that it was going to go in that direction somehow. But it had its moments where I just felt like, why is she actually in this movie? Then again, the woman who played her, she was pretty good. I had no problem with her playing her. I just felt that there was way too many characters that they're trying to throw in at once, and it really, some of them was not necessary, especially the character of the Scarecrow. Is it just me, or Christopher Nolan do not like the Scarecrow? I mean, I pretty felt the one problem with the Batman Begins movie is that I really wanted to see Scarecrow in this film, and once the film reaches its climax, they actually threw that character away like it was nothing. That Dark Knight, same thing. They just basically make sure he was caught real quick, and that was it. And this film, he's in this film, and I don't really know why he was in this movie. They could have put anybody else in that position, and it probably made no difference. I just felt that that they just wasted. It's a perfect waste of time with this one character that I don't feel that that needed to be in this movie. But again, that's just me. Overall, I just think the story. I just think they was doing too much. That the story just got a little convoluted in the beginning of this film. To the point where you just didn't care for most of the stuff that was going on. As for it not being enough Batman in the movie, I had no problem with that because it was more of Bruce Wayne's story and how he was dealing with the aftermath of the Dark Knight, which I actually enjoyed because, let's be honest, he was broken down. That incident that happened in the Dark Knight hurt him tremendously, to the point where he's not even keeping an eye of his own company, which is pretty much on the verge of bankruptcy. So I'm not mad that they did that. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't try and make it into a comic fest. It's more dramatic than anything else. But in all, I didn't have a problem with that. I actually was kind of glad they didn't try to make it all Batman all the time. However, when he was there, I was actually happy he was there. The only problem I had with him being Batman is you didn't see him do much hand-to-hand fighting, and some of the fighting that I did see, really, it wasn't that good. To me, it wasn't that good. I expected a little bit better than that, but it could have been a lot worse. It's not worse than the Dark Knight, than the Batman Begins fighting sequences where I barely knew what the hell was going on. But it felt more choreographed in this one than the last predecessor, which is kind of sad. It's really they scaled back on that a little bit. Overall, these are just a few things, and the continuities. That's the one thing that got me the most. I'm not gonna say what it is, but you'll see when you see the film. But needless to say, there was a lot of stuff that made me scratch my head. From that girl being in a prison where or in real life, she wouldn't be in that prison, to Bruce Wayne escaping his situation, only to end up in Gotham in a way which makes me wonder, did I miss a scene? Did they edit out a scene how he actually went back to Gotham City without being seen by anyone who is holding the island hostages? So there's a lot of continuities that has been done. It's a flawed film. There's no question about it. It's not one of the greatest Batman films I've seen, but it's still a good film. It's not a terrible movie. It's just it does come with a little bit of problems, and those problems, unfortunately, depending on how your expectation is, could either make it be underwhelming, or just you just shrug it off and say, look, I still enjoy it for what it is. I still enjoy it for what it was. I didn't came in this film thinking it's going to be better than The Dark Knight. I actually came in there with just basically saying, okay, I'm not going to see no more than 2 trailers. I'm not going to have people, pump me up. I'm not going to look at many reviews on this film. I'm just going to look at it from what it's worth. And for what it's worth, I still enjoy the movie. It kept me interested from the beginning, and that was important. I liked the action sequences overall as a whole. I liked the overall story. There's just some things that keeps it from being that 4-star film, and unfortunately the stuff I mentioned there definitely kept it from being a 4-star film. But it's still a 3.5-star movie. I still enjoy it. Whether or not you consider it to be better than The Dark Knight, that's up to you guys. To me, it's not, but it's definitely a fine, finish to a overall great trilogy. And I don't make no mistake about it. This is one of the great trilogies that I've seen in a while since The Lord of the Rings. So 3.5 stars. It's definitely worth checking out. If you guys do, if you guys seen this film, let me know what you feel about this film. If you guys didn't see this film and plan to see this film, that's fine. But if you guys didn't like the movie, let me know too. I like to know what your overall feeling with this movie. But for me, this film was a good film. It's not a perfect film. It's not a 4-star film, but it's still a good film, good enough for 3.5 stars. It's definitely one of those films that I don't regret seeing. Didn't see it in IMAX. I saw it in actually a regular screening. I wanted to get my overall feeling towards this movie. As what it is, I will go back and see this film as IMAX. That's definitely for sure. But it is a movie that I don't have any regret seeing, and for most part, it's definitely an enjoyable film to go. It's one great entertainment for a ride for me. So does it have problems? Yeah, but didn't overall hurt my initial feelings towards the film. So that's pretty much it. Give me your comments and feedback below. Let me know what you feel about it. But until then, it's J77 saying take care, be safe.